Okay, let's kick off this explainer with a little thought experiment that is going to fundamentally change how we view higher education. Most of us just naturally think about university in terms of the really tangible things, right? The lectures, the endless grades, and ultimately snagging that piece of paper at the very end. But what if we've been looking at the whole thing completely backward? Today, we're exploring this really fascinating concept from our source material, which argues that the absolute most valuable lessons you learn at university, they're never actually going to appear on your transcript.
Picture this. Imagine, right now, someone walks into your room and quietly, no questions asked, takes away your degree certificate. They take your transcript, your GPA, the fancy university logo. Literally everything on paper is just gone. Ask yourself, who would you be without it? Think about it for a second. Would you suddenly lose your discipline? Would you instantly just forget how to think critically? Would you lose the ability to solve complex problems, communicate your ideas, or, learn a completely new skill from scratch? Well, of course not. Because the real value of spending 4, 5, or 6 years grinding away at university wasn't that piece of paper itself.
And that brings us to this incredibly powerful realization from our source material. Your degree gets you an interview. The person you become while earning it determines everything that comes after. This is a huge shift in perspective. For years, students basically believe they're at university for one single reason, to learn physics or mathematics or programming or research methods. But as the source points out, that is only half the story. The other half is completely invisible.
Section 1. The two curriculums. What is actually being taught? So here is the wild thing. Every single university is basically running two curriculums at the exact same time. The first one is super obvious. It's the one right there in your syllabus, the one you get tested on through exams and assignments. It's the one everybody talks about. But underneath all of that lies a hidden curriculum, one that never appears on your timetable, no professor is ever going to announce it on the first day, and literally no exam directly tests it. Yet it is quietly shaping every single student who is willing to pay attention. Just look at this incredible one-to-one mapping here. Notice how perfectly ordinary academic tasks map straight to the real-world behaviors they're quietly training. Dragging yourself to lectures? That's actually teaching you discipline. Pushing through grueling exams? That is building resilience. Laboratory work that just refuses to yield results for weeks? That is a literal masterclass in patience. The first curriculum, the visible one, that might help you get your foot in the door for your first opportunity. But it's the second hidden curriculum that absolutely determines how far you will actually go in life.
Section 2. The invisible training ground. Building habits, not just knowledge.
When we first show up on campus, we usually think we're just there to collect a bunch of facts. But something so much deeper is happening beneath the surface. Every single deadline you meet, every frustrating disagreement in a group project, every failure you have to recover from, it's all quietly shaping your behavior. And honestly, perhaps the greatest behavioral transformation of all is just learning how to learn. Notice how the responsibility totally shifts over time. In high school, teachers hold your hand and guide almost every single step. Then, in the early years of university, professors step back a bit. They explain concepts, recommend some books, and kind of point you in the right direction. But gradually, you're expected to just figure things out on your own. You're reading papers you've never seen before, connecting totally unfamiliar concepts, and by the end, especially if you go all the way to a PhD, you realize something pretty remarkable. You no longer need someone to teach you. You actually know how to teach yourself. And in a world where AI and technology are evolving at lightning speed, the people who really thrive aren't necessarily the ones who know the most facts. They're the ones who can learn new things the fastest.
But getting to that elite level of independence, that requires immense discipline. And as our source highlights, nobody develops discipline in these dramatic, cinematic montage moments. Not at all. It is built one ordinary day at a time. It's built by dragging yourself to an 8 a.m. lecture when you would literally rather do anything than get out of bed, probably questioning all your life choices on the walkover. It's built by forcing yourself to submit assignments when your motivation has just completely vanished. Now, these mundane, annoying little moments don't feel meaningful at the time, but they are secretly building the absolutely priceless habit of doing important work regardless of how you feel. And that habit is absolutely crucial for succeeding in literally any profession.
But it's not just about discipline. University quietly upgrades the entire way your brain works. It teaches you the ability to ask far better questions. Think about it. As new students, we ask really simple things, right? Hey, why does this equation work? Or can you just explain this concept to me one more time? But over time, those questions evolve. You start asking things like, wait, what assumptions are we making here? Or could there be a totally different explanation for this? Or even, are we even trying to solve the right problem in the first place? The quality of your questions slowly improves the quality of your thinking, which, at the end of the day, eventually improves the quality of your life decisions.
And honestly, this stark contrast perfectly illustrates why critical thinking matters more today than ever before. Look, artificial intelligence has made information so incredibly easy to access. Within seconds, AI can generate endless summaries, massive reports, a million possibilities, and flawless code. But that doesn't make critical thinking obsolete. If anything, it makes it completely indispensable. Because when information is abundant, human judgment becomes scarce. AI can generate all the possibilities in the world, but we humans still need to exercise the judgment, question the underlying assumptions, and actually decide what matters. And that specific, high-level type of judgment, that is built slowly, painfully through years of experimenting, failing, and reflecting in that university environment.
Okay, here's another huge, totally unexpected lesson hiding in this curriculum, learning how to take a hit. I mean, no one teaches a class called Handling Criticism 101, right? Yet you are constantly being evaluated. A professor critiques your big presentation, a peer reviewer, especially the dreaded reviewer 2, just absolutely tears your research paper apart. Initially, it hurts, it feels deeply personal, but eventually, this really liberating shift occurs. You learn to actually separate your identity from your work. You realize that your paper can require major revisions without you being a total personal failure. And that is when professional growth can finally begin, because your ego finally stops interrupting your learning process.
And since we're talking about getting feedback on your work, we've got to talk about communication. The Hidden Curriculum teaches you that real professional communication isn't about throwing around big, impressive academic vocabulary words. Not at all. Through countless seminars, messy group meetings, and intense research discussions, you learn vital real-world skills. You learn how to structure your ideas clearly, how to actually back up your opinions with hard evidence, how to disagree with someone respectfully, how to listen carefully, and how to communicate without getting immediately defensive. Pure technical knowledge might earn you respect in the short term, but clear communication is what builds trust, and trust is what actually creates real opportunities.
The university environment also quietly rewards a habit that turns into a massive competitive advantage out in the real world, and that is curiosity. Imagine you're scrolling and you see this news headline, India experiences monsoon deficit. Now, a lot of people are just going to keep passively scrolling, but a curious mind pauses. They ask, wait, what exactly is a monsoon anyway? Why is it deficient right now? And how is that going to impact global food prices? Curiosity transforms passive scrolling into deep, actionable understanding. The goal isn't just to memorize more trivia facts. It's about developing this deeply ingrained habit of constantly asking deeper questions about the world around you.
Section 3. Life's Continuous Examination, the test that begins after graduation.
The author of our source material actually mentioned that they didn't fully grasp this whole hidden curriculum concept until after they finished an entire PhD in computational imaging. They spent all that time thinking they were just learning complex equations, but looking back, they realized they were actually learning patience, how to sit with deep uncertainty, and how to bounce back after literally months of failed experiments. So, the crucial dichotomy is this: universities officially evaluate your assignments, but life evaluates your habits. Sure, your degree might secure your very first job interview, but after that, virtually no one is ever going to ask about your GPA again. Instead, life is going to continually test you on the hidden curriculum. It's going to ask, can you learn independently? Can you work well with difficult people? Can you stay calm under pressure when a major project totally fails? Can people actually trust you? These aren't standard interview questions. They are life's ongoing examinations.
Which brings us to the true purpose of education. It is not simply to just fill our minds with technical knowledge. It's to slowly, methodically shape the kind of people we become. So, if you are currently studying right now, or even if you are long past graduation, try to view the academic journey not as a final destination, but as this incredibly rigorous training ground. Yes, absolutely learn the subject matter deeply, but pay equal attention to the invisible curriculum that is unfolding right alongside it.
Ultimately, that paper degree, that was never actually your greatest achievement from those years. The person you became while earning it was. So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on today. In the midst of all your ordinary routines, your stressful deadlines, and your mundane everyday tasks, what is your hidden curriculum teaching you today? Thanks for exploring this fascinating topic with me. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.